We get 3, 4 phone calls a day calling us fascists, Nazis.
Russian restaurants have become a target of harassment as Putin invades Ukraine.
I'll show you. This one starts with go home.
Yeah, you can still see it. The sign has been kicked in. It fell apart. We put it together.
In reality, these businesses have ties to Ukraine.
Consistently just hearing negative like death threats, want to burn down the restaurant. I am Russian, I am Ukrainian, I am American.
Just because it's Russian in front of us doesn't mean we are with Putin and that regime.
Meanwhile, for Ukrainian businesses, there's been an outpouring of support.
We've seen a great uptick in business.
Is this the first time you've witnessed anti-Russian sentiment?
No. I remember the Cold War, Russophobia, we were called the commies.
The war Putin is waging on the Ukrainian people is happening thousands of miles away. But in these restaurants run by immigrants, the pain of the invasion is palpable.
Because every news says it's a conflict. It's not a conflict. It's a bloody, bloody war.
We don't support this war. We don't want this war.
Well, I do. And you want to know why? I'll tell you why. This is why. I'm not going to show you all this, but this is the latest terrorist attack that just happened 3 days ago that you didn't see on TV because they don't show you this. Here's some nice Ukrainian men here committing war crimes. They're about to execute these Russians. They have their hands tied behind their fucking backs. And that's enough. Here's another one. Look at this. Here's Ukrainians running over in a tank a Russian soldier, an injured Russian soldier who can't move. Look at that. He's just running him over. Look at this. He's hiding right there. Yeah, and he goes back and he does it again. And then there's this one that I'm sure you just all heard of recently in the news. Yeah, can't show you that either. I am so embarrassed to be an American right now. And the kind of Russophobia that we have going on is disgusting. The call with the orcs, people call them orcs, and what's the other one? Muscovites. You see this kind of just abuse, and it's really disappointing. All of you disappoint me because you're on the wrong side of all of this. The wrong side. And how do I know I'm on the right side? Because this is what I do all day. I fucking watch this shit. I read this stuff. I've read at least 50 UN humanitarian reports, not just on Ukraine, but on Russia and on Poland. Everybody's focused right now on Russia's and their gay, whatever propaganda law. Poland's like 10 times worse. They're the #1 worst country for gay rights in Europe. Like, they're #1. Like, they've had that law forever. Russia, you can adopt a gay man can adopt a baby there. You can do that in Poland. Like, Jesus Christ. It's sick and it's disgusting because we're all the leftists. We remember after 9/11 when people were being just blatantly like I don't know what the word is, anti-Muslim, whatever the word is, xenophobic, and leftists were like, no, we gotta love them all. We can't judge them all. They're not all terrorists. Where are you guys? Where's those people? Like, and I'll tell you where they are. They're fucking cowards. Nobody here. This is Biden's war. He's arming fucking terrorists once again, just like America does. And you know what? You can call me. I'm not a Trump supporter. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. Somebody said some shit like, called me a Russian propagandist. I'm not a Russian propagandist. I'm a straight up Russian supporter. I know these things. You don't. You only watch CNN or Fox or Washington Post or the Boston Tribune or whatever. I read over 30 publications from foreign media. I use translators to decode them. I read UN human rights reports. I know this stuff. I've actually taken the time to to read shit like this. I've read this. Have you read this right here? Do you know what this is? We call this Putin propaganda, right? You know? Hey, come back. Do you know what this is? Before you open your big mouth about this this issue over here, maybe you should read about that. And you know what's really pathetic is that I know where this comes from. And a lot of it has to do with Donald Trump, unfortunately. He said, wouldn't it be nice if we could just get along with Russia? And yes, that would be nice. You know, of all the things that Donald Trump has done, like his foreign policy was not as hawkish as the last 5 presidents. They had to force him to do drones. They twist his arm to drone strike Syria. I don't know how. I wouldn't have done it. I would have just quit. I don't care what the fuck you got on me. But here's the thing. Donald Trump is for peace with Russia. Therefore, these fucking liberals... then we have to have war with Russia. This is how it works. Like, if you see this over and over with the left, too. Remember when the vaccine came out? And for the Democrats weren't taking the vaccine because it was Trump's vaccine. Even Joe Biden said, I'm not taking Trump's vaccine. And then when he went into office, then he took the vaccine. Then the leftists jumped on board. Then it became a left issue. It's like, how immature are you guys? Like, are you this, like, politically, like, fucked up in the head that you can't tell right from wrong? There's no Nazis in Ukraine. Zelensky's a Jew. Like, Putin's price hike. Unprovoked invasion. The second time they said unprovoked invasion, like, I already knew that they were trying to push something. I don't understand, like how you guys are so stupid, you know? I don't understand it. There's Nazis in Ukraine. There's a fuck ton of them. And Zelensky is a Jew? Like, no. That's not even a thing.
Here's a headline that I bet you never thought you'd see. Rights groups demand Israel stop arming neo-Nazis in the Ukraine. What? My brain is broken. What? That's like Black Panther should stop arming the Ku Klux Klan. What?
Is that why you guys don't believe there's Nazis in Ukraine? You don't believe it because it's just so ridiculous? Because it is fucking ridiculous. You want to know what's even worse? There's Nazis everywhere. There's actually probably more in Poland. There's Nazis all over Europe. There's a bunch of them in Italy. There's Nazis here in America. There's Nazis up in Sweden. But the difference is we, the United States, just because we can't stand Russia being ahead of us and we have to keep them down, we decided to give their neighbors, the Ukrainians, the Nazi part of we gave them weapons. We gave them tons of weapons, tons of money. They started training camps based on Hitler's Youth, where they train little kids to basically like kill Russians and just hate Russians. And this is what we do because we can't stand like Russia being like ahead of us. And so we took this small Nazi population and we turned it into an actual movement. And it's drawn Nazis from the Baltic states, from Poland, from across the world. There's over 20,000 U.S. fighters over there. And then when we see they come back in body bags, they got Nazi tattoos on them. And I know people want to say this is Russian propaganda. Why does everything have to be Russian propaganda? Why? That is so stupid. Show me, because the only Russian propaganda I'm seeing is the propaganda being propagated against Russia. That's the one I'm seeing. This is just disgusting that you guys can't even use your brain. Like, It's all there. It's all right here on this World Wide Web. You can read the reports. You can watch this stuff. You denying this Nazism is just Nazi denialism. You're a Nazi sympathizer. You're pathetic. Like you all disappoint me. It's just so goddamn sickening. You don't even know what you're standing for.
Наше гасло. України, діти, ми.
Death to Muscovites. Those are Russians. Those from Moscow. These are all Russian propaganda. Is this Russian propaganda? And you can say, oh no, there's only a few Nazis in Ukraine or whatever. It doesn't matter what population they are. They're the population in control. After the Maidan protests and the Odessa massacre, there was a power vacuum, and they filled that power vacuum. They installed their guys in the parliament. And then when the invasion happened, this is probably Putin's fault, this part. But when the invasion happened, when Putin invaded, they took over parliament. When's the last time you seen Zelensky outside? When's the last time you seen him without his little guys around him, his Azov guys? Never. They control him. They're running the shots. And what's mind-blowing is that it's right in front of your face. It's not even hard to see. It's so easy to see. But some of you just don't want to see it. You're in denial. You think this is something to do with the Republicans or this is Trump. And look, whatever, even if it was true, okay? Even if it was true that there were no Nazis in Ukraine and then Putin was like the enemy of the world that you guys want to believe. Do you know what we're doing? We're still arming Nazis. We're still arming fucking Nazis, and it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And they commit atrocity after atrocity after atrocity, and it's disgusting because I love the Russian people. They're smart people. I love their culture. I love, they're creative people. They're very proud people. They're funny, in a weird way. And I just can't stand like all this bullshit that we're doing. It's just really, it's disgusting. Where are the people that where are the leftists that say no more Russophobia? Why are we canceling Russian skaters and ice skaters and athletes? And I'm more for the war than they are. Why don't you cancel me? And believe it or not, they have tried to cancel me. These fucking NAFO motherfuckers, listen, they thought that they could cancel me by shaming me on the internet. They're like, we're going to make you famous. I'm like, go for it. Please do. Like, because when people come ask me questions, I will tell them the answers. I will tell them the truth. And you guys should be worried about this Azov battalion. Not just them, but the other ones. The Phoenix battalion and the Kraken and the Tornado and the whatever the other one, Mischief, whatever, the fucking C-14, this and that. No, those are the same guys, C-14. No, they're Phoenix now. Yeah. You should be worried about these guys because they're a threat to humanity. These ultranationalists only have one goal, okay? And it's to attain a Ukrainian state or die in battle for it. That is what they believe, okay? That's the part that makes them radical extremists. And for a lot of these guys, there's no greater honor than to die for this cause. It's an ideology that's like frighteningly similar to ISIS. Think about that. That these attain a Ukrainian state or die for it. Do you have any idea what these people have done? They banned. First of all, the United States helped them coup the Ukrainian government. And there was protests, and they burned down the trade unions building. 40 people alive in it were killed. Some jumped out the window, and when they jumped out the window, these nationalists shot at them. These are pieces of shit we're talking about. And you guys have been tricked into supporting them. And then anytime somebody tries to even like say, hey, I think that these guys might be doing something bad, they go, Russian propagandist, and it's insane how much in denial you are, but on the wrong side of reality. And you're cowards. And for those of you who do know the truth, like, where's your Russian shirt? Come on. I'm the only fucking motherfucker brave enough I know to fly a Russian flag in front of my house on a telephone pole. I'll show you in a minute. But you have to understand that these guys, these Azov and these ultranationalists, they study the teachings of Stefan Bandera, a Nazi collaborator. And they study Adolf Eichmann and even Hitler himself. They use the Nazi war doctrine and for combat. They even have like a Hitler's Youth. I just showed you the kids being trained. That's based on Hitler's Youth. You know what that is, right? You guys have done research, right? At least into World War II. I know you haven't done a damn research into this conflict, but at least you know what Hitler's Youth is, right? It's a brainwashing program. So where they train these kids, so you say, okay, there's not a bunch of Nazis in Ukraine. It's just the ones in the government. No, they've brainwashed the kids too. They're training them to grow up. In this trade unions building crisis, massacre, the Odessa massacre, it created a power vacuum. They snagged parliament. And when they put their people in there, guess what the first thing they did was? They banned the Russian language. You know why? Because the Russian history books tell about Russian, heroes who defeated the Nazis and saved Ukrainians, which is what happened. But they don't want you to teach that. They don't want them to teach that, so they had to ban the Russian language. So therefore, they would ban the books. But guess what? There was only one problem. Ukrainians didn't have history books. So they had to create history books. So between 2000, you can Google this. All this stuff is, I promise you can verify this. Between 2015 through 2018, there was a big push for Ukrainians to write. There's an article that says why Ukrainian media is booming, why Ukrainian textbooks are big business all of a sudden, or Ukrainian publishing, and that's why. And when they wrote these books, they focused on mostly the bad stuff of the Soviet Union, the Holodomor, where the famine, where they starved the Ukrainians, and they left out all the good things basically, and then they threw in a bunch of shit that doesn't even exist. And I've read one of these books partially, and it's just mind blowing that how they've indoctrinated these people with this brainwashing stuff. And so this guy Stefan Bandera they're ideologists, they're radicals. They believe that if they follow, these people believe that they should have stayed. This guy Stefan Bandera, he's a Nazi collaborator. He killed a bunch of Jews and a bunch of Poles, okay, in West Ukraine. Ukraine was during World War II. They were torn between, do we need to be with Germany or do we need to be with Russia? And but basically Russia just came in and they won. But there's still people that exist. That these people, these Nazis, they didn't all die, They reproduced. They handed down their Mein Kampf to their children, their Nazi ideology and their ways and their quotes from Stefan Bandera and the deconology of a Ukrainian nationalist, or whatever it's called, the 10 Commandments of a Ukrainian nationalist. It is disturbing what these people believe, because they're ready to die for it too, and they're ready to kill their own people for it too. And we've seen that. We've seen Ukraine, shell the prison camp of their own prisoners, and it wasn't to keep them from talking to the Russians. It was just so they could blame it on the Russians and then rally people for more weapons. It's this is part of their whole terrorist, I'm looking up something right now. Let's see. It's not Deacon, but it's, I'm trying to think of what it was. What's the word I'm looking for? fucking, I'm just gonna type in 10 command and see what comes up. 10. Let me show you. Okay, Decalogue. Is that how you say it? Tell me how you say this.
Decalogue.
Decalogue?
Decalogue.
Okay, whatever. So this has been translated. You will attain a Ukrainian state or perish fighting for it. This is like the John 3:16 of what these people believe. You will not allow anyone to tarnish your reputation, your honor. Remember the great days of struggling, which is, be proud that you're an heir to the fight for Volodomar's trident, avenge the deaths of the great kings. Do not discuss this with whoever, you will not hesitate to commit even the greatest crime, all right? If the good of the cause demands it. The good of the cause is ethnically cleansing Ukraine and making it free from minorities. With hatred and deceit, you will receive the enemies of your nation. Neither pleading nor treats, torture or death will force you to reveal secrets. And you will strive to expand strength, strive to expand the strength, fame, wealth, and area of the Ukrainian state, even through enslavement of foreigners. These people, I'm trying to explain to you, they're pretty damn crazy. And right now, what's going on is disgusting. Hold on. Oh, propaganda.
Для детей школы. Пропагандистская книга, которая называется «Степан Бандера и я». И вот здесь вот проведен так называемый...
All right, so this is a Russian talking. This is when the fucking woke people and the morons go, oh, this is Russian propaganda. No, let me tell you something about Russian propaganda. Russian propaganda, Russians do propaganda, but they're not very good at it. And you can notice when it is, because it's always like they're trying to like insert, their symbolism and all this stuff. And, only 3% of Russians speak English, okay? They're not good at propaganda. It's hilarious when they try. Now, the Ukrainians, 96% of them speak English. They're the masters of propaganda. You have been taken for a ride. I promise you that. And if you still think that, like, I'm wrong and you're right, like, how much have you read about this? How much have you read? Because I can guarantee you that I've already got an 8-year head start on you. You want to argue with me and tell me that I'm a Russian propagandist? Like, no, I know the truth, and I know that Russia hasn't done anything wrong. I am a Russian supporter. I'm not a Russian propagandist. You can call me a Russian propagandist, but you're a Nazi sympathizer. You're a Nazi apologist. So, I got no sound, bro.
Националиста. Вначале здесь указано в переводе с украинского достал все, что знал про Степана Бандеру. Имеется в виду на уроке. Одноклассники слушали, не прерывая. Учительница смотрела немного удивленно и одобрительно. Видите, как сразу закладывается отношение. Одобрительно якобы по поводу Степана Бандеры. Копию декалога, что дал заповедь.
Anyways, I just read this to you. We don't need to go over that anymore. Like, we don't need. He's just gonna say the same thing that I just said. But these are not good people, and they're so intent on their radical ideology that they bombed a POW camp, housing 300 or 400 of their own soldiers. Like, you got to be kidding me. And we see this time and time again. You know how I know this to be true? Because I know what to look for. I know when the news is lying. I watch over 32 different publications. I read 32 publications. I read Indian news. I read Chinese news. I read a ton of Ukrainian news. And I catch them in lies all the time. I read Russian news, Chinese news. I use translators for this stuff, by the way. I'm looking for that. Indian news. They're one of the most honest out there, believe it or not. Turkish news and European news, although that's the hardest to translate for whatever reason. I guess maybe because, I don't know. European news like is hard for me to translate. Like shit from the Baltic states and stuff. I had to get some wine. I'm really sad about this. I'm really sad and I'm really disappointed at this Russophobia stuff. And it's like because Donald Trump wanted to be friends with Russia, the left wants to go to war with Russia. Is that what's going on? Let me tell you something very inconvenient. And do I look like a Trump supporter to you? No, I didn't vote for him the first time or the second time. But I'm also not dumb enough to vote for Joe Biden because I knew what he was about. I knew, like, they just say Russian propaganda. I know people who buy into this, like the liberal people, the lefties. They buy into this shit like they lied to you about Iraq and weapons of mass destruction. They lied to you about Bay of Pigs. They lied to you about Saddam chemical weapons. That's what I just said. They lied to you about Assad in Syria using chemical weapons on his. That's what I meant to say. They lied to you about so many things. And you think all of a sudden that now they're just telling the truth? And nothing just seems a little suspicious to you, right? Like Russia is just committing these horrible like terrorist like acts that are just designed to do what? Rally the world against them, like to get people to hate them, like that they serve no purpose, like strategically just to cause terror. Because you really believe that? Do you really believe that? And this is the thing that makes me sick, because even if you did believe that, since when has it become practice to hate the people of that country? We didn't do that during 9/11. We said, come on in, Muslims, come on in, come every one of you. And what are we doing to Russians? We're saying, stay in your country, stay there. We're banning you. You can't come in here. And you know who said we should ban Russians? It was Zelensky who said that. He said that, and people were like, "Wait, what? That's a little crazy." And it is crazy because some of these people are refugees. Some of these people are Ukrainian Russians, and they were denied to get into Poland because they spoke Russian. They didn't know how to speak Ukrainian. Do you know how many Ukrainian? Here, let me show you something that's pretty wild. All right, and I'm gonna see if you can tie this together. Okay. Oops. I'm gonna see if you can tie this together. See if you can figure this out right now. Guess which country has, I don't know, the most Ukrainian refugees? Which one do you think it is? I think it's America. Is it, I don't know, Germany? Like, which one do you think it is? China? What do you think, what country do you think has the most Ukrainian refugees? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, not Germany. It's Russia with 2.9 million. Why do you think they're there? Before the invasion, over 40% of the population surveyed said that they would like reunification with Russia. 40% of Ukrainians support Russia. And where did they go when the war broke out? Where did they evacuate to? Can you put this together? They went to Russia, 29 million Russia, 1.5 to Poland, Germany 1 million, Czech 0.4. And then the rest of the countries get 0.3, 0.2. Then there's hardly any in America. So it's no surprise that you guys don't have a fucking clue because you haven't talked to any Ukrainian refugees. You run into a Ukrainian who's been here for the last 10 years and you go, hey, what's going on? Yeah, and they're like, fuck Putin, yes. Slava Ukraini. Like they don't even have any idea what's going on. Okay? They don't even have an idea. I'm sure they talk with their relatives back home, but this is such a big, massive, giant scam on top of a scam, wrapped inside of a scam, that it's really hard to unpack. And it's a lot to take in that you're wrong. And it's very hard for you to accept that you're Nazi sympathizers. So if you're out there with your blue and white, this is why See, you guys get so militant and angry against Russia supporters, and you're wrong. But we're so patient with you, and we're right. I know that you believe in your heart that Putin is like the Hitler, and like this is unprovoked invasion, and like this is aggressive Russia. You know, I know that you think Putin is the source of all problems, and if we remove him, all your problems will go away because you've been programmed to believe that. I don't know what it's going to take for you to realize that your media, you are state controlled. Out of 42 countries polled, United States was the #1 most propagandized country. It wasn't always this way. Something happened in 2014 or something. I don't know what happened, but they changed the law or something. But now they can just lie to you, and that's what they do. They just lie to you. They lie to you, and the majority of the lying is just by omitting things. Like the things I just showed you with those atrocities, I can show you 100 more of those. Like Ukraine's committing terrorist attacks left and right. And they're shown on, what's that website called? Whatever it is. Something to do with, is it postage something? Or whatever that website is. It's being shared on a website, a video sharing website, or no. Signal? No, it's not Signal. It's like Signal, but it's not Signal. It's anyways, the country with the most Ukrainian refugees is Russia. And then second, third, fourth is Poland, Germany, and the Czech Republic. Now, when you hear about these pro-Russian protests, right? Where are they coming from? Where do they come from? In Germany, pro-Russian protests. In Sofia, I don't know where that is, but they're in all those places where the Ukrainian refugees are. Like, okay, what I'm trying to tell you is that when they say pro-Russian protester, what they're not telling you is that these are Ukrainians protesting for Russia. Now, the people that live in that state, they're protesting for lower energy prices and just in general, just to stop the war. But the people who are organizing these grassroots protests are Ukrainians. And here's going to be the toughest pill for you to swallow. But Zelensky's not in control. The Nazis are. Ukrainian Nazis, the ultranationalists, they're in control, okay? They've been working on this for a long time. They're happy about the war. They want the war. They want this war. They basically have ethnically cleansed Ukraine of all nationalities. They've beaten, foreign exchange students into leaving the country. They've chased out Roma camps. And, of course, they've made it known that, Jews and Poles and Roma are not welcome there. And for the longest time, they just, even a lot of Russians joined these Azov things, these neo-Nazis. There's Russians in these neo-Nazi groups. There are, sadly. Because in the effort to Ukraine, they're on the last mile. They've done a hell of a job. They have succeeded. And our government over here in the United States, we saw what's going on. We decided to arm these guys. And what happened? I'll tell you what happened. We funded them. Israel armed them, and Canada trained them. And we did this strategically like this, just so no one would catch on. Because if we took all the Ukrainian, Nazis here to America, gave them money and weapons and trained them, it would be easy to catch. So we diversed it. And we trained them in France, too. For the ones that didn't want to travel to Canada or couldn't, we trained them in France. Even a couple in UK and Germany. I'm telling you, I'm versed on this subject. And as somebody who's versed on this subject, I am pro-Russia. And it's clear as day that these guys they're not the aggressors. They're defensively protecting their border. If you think that Russia needs more land, you're a fucking idiot. If you think they need the Ukraine's oil reserves, you're a fucking idiot. There's a lot of mechanics into this. And why did the United States coup the Ukrainian government? Well, basically they wanted Crimea. They wanted to set up their own military base on Crimea. They figured if they get their guy into Ukraine, that they can kick Russia out of Crimea, deny them access to the Baltic Sea, and set up a military base there and pretty much have a monopoly across the board. Game over, checkmate. And Russia was like, holy shit, it's almost checkmate. So they ran out and they snatched Crimea. Okay? Now this pissed off a lot of Ukrainians, especially even the ones who were pro-Russian. Before the invasion of Crimea, or the snatching, the annexation, that's the word, I think it was like 60% of Ukrainians were for reunification with Russia. And then it dropped to 40 after that, because they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand what's going on. The Ukrainians here in America don't understand what's going on. The politicians here, that they kind of know what's going on. They know that they're, hey man, do you know we're fucking funding Nazis? That's what I heard, man. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. Hope this shit doesn't get out, man, because that's your ass. No, I'm just gonna say I didn't know nothing about it. Yeah, me too, man. I'm gonna say no, I didn't know nothing about it. Fuck. They're real Nazis. I know, I seen them, man. People are starting to wake up here now, though. But for those of you who do know, and you're not saying anything, you're not standing up for Russia because you're scared of what somebody says on Twitter or being canceled, like, fuck you, you're a coward. You know what? Stand up for Russia. And that's another thing. Like, why do we call it Russia? It's definitely not, that's not how they say it. It's Russia. Like, but we call it Russia as if like they're all in a hurry. They're rushing somewhere. They're not rushing anywhere. They're the Ruskies, and they're from the country of Russia. So I guess you can say like Russia in certain like in certain situations. I'm not exactly sure. Здравствуйте, мой дорогой. Let me tell you something. All right, this is the formula. Okay. All these things that you see on TV, these frightening images, they're there to rally you, okay? They're there to... If any of you leftists out there follow Noam Chomsky, manufacturing content support, manufactured support, what is it called? Manufactured... What is that called? I have to know now. Noam Chomsky... Consent. Manufacturing consent. That's what they're doing, okay? So... I've looked into almost every claim and every atrocity that has occurred in this war. Like, there's dumb ones, ridiculous ones, but still people believe it. Like, they give Russian troops Viagra to, like, you know, go on a rape spree to, like, really scare these Ukrainians into, you know, liking them. Like, they're trying to win these people over. They're not trying to... it's so stupid. So stupid. But I've looked into every one of these, and I can honestly say that there's only one instance that I haven't like really decoded, and there's only one of these, you know, atrocities that I could like say maybe it was Russia, you know, like, and I'm inclined to like want to believe that it was an accident. I'd like to think that it was, and it's the Mariupol theater. But you know, they're still holding their side, you know, to that, you know, Ukraine did it, and but it doesn't. It looks like they may have done that one, and I'd like to think that they got bad intel and thought that it really was like a fortification for Ukrainian weapons or something. But you know, in their behavior too, like kind of, you know, because they don't touch this with the 10-foot pole, you know, like if you go on like the RT and like just type it in, you know, like they don't really touch it, like, but you know, when it comes to like, you know, the pipeline or like or the shelling the Zaporizhzhia power plant or Bucha, they're like, come on, go check it, go open investigation, come on, we want to come in, United Nations, come on. That's how they act when they're like, you know. So and that's kind of the part of the how I can instantly tell. Like, I look into these things deeply, but like when I get leads on things, it's usually based on the reactions of like kind of Zelensky and Russia, like how they react to it. That usually tells me like, you know, and let me, I'm gonna give you the formula. Okay, so some bizarre tragedy will like fucking get out of here. Got fruit flies wanting my wine. Some bizarre like atrocity, like a tragedy will occur, and it's so like off the wall that it's like almost unbelievable that like anyone would do such a thing, like Bucha or whatever, right? And before anyone knows anything, so that's number one. That happens, and then number two, before anyone knows anything, Zelensky and his camera crew are immediately on the scene, and they're going, "Russia did it! Russia did it! Russia did it! I know it was Russia!" And you know. Never mind the fact that like it doesn't benefit Russia, and never mind the fact that like it actually does harm to Russia, like on the world stage. The people don't support them as much, and you know, and there's not even there's no investigation has even happened yet, and you know, nobody knows anything yet, but Zelensky, he knows that it's Russia. The Russians did it. That's step number two. Step number three. He tries to pull everybody else into this conflict. Come on in, like come send NATO troops, send troops. We need more weapons. Come fight for Ukraine. Come help with this. We need preemptive nuclear strikes on Russia. This is a world leader saying that. Do you know how fucking irresponsible that is? That he's calling for preemptive nuclear strikes. I know we live in a crazy world right now where like people say a lot of shit, but that tops anything that Donald Trump has ever said. That's insanity. And that tells you that should tell you one thing, that this guy is either a terrorist or he's being controlled by these terrorists. And like I said, when's the last time you've seen Zelensky leave the country? As far as I know, he hasn't. When's the last time you know, every time we see him, he's always with these guys, you know, surrounding him in a circle, like with their little Nazi patches and shit. So that's the formula. Boom, some major crazy atrocity happens. Boom, Zelensky's on the scene with his camera crew, and you know, he's saying it's Russia before anybody's done any investigation. And three, they're trying to rally the world for like support. They want more weapons. They want more, you know, everything. We just saw this a week ago. Last week, there was a missile that Ukraine shot into Poland. Remember that? Oh shit! The news reported it as Russian missile hits Poland because it was this old Soviet missile, and like they. But these guys were really beating the war drums. Zelensky, what a fucking coward. He wants everybody else to fight this fucking war. And you know what? Honestly, he's doing a damn good job. There's over 40,000 mercenaries there. And most of them are neo-Nazis, too. You can look into this, man. This is verified shit. But that's the formula. You know, you create this terrorist attack. You terrorist attack your own people. Like your own, these guys killed their own POWs, their own soldiers in a Russian POW camp. They bombed the shit out of it. Okay? Do you understand that? Think about that for a second. And think about what I told you about attain a Ukrainian state by any means necessary. Commit any crime to achieve the greater cause. Think about that. Do you really think that these people would hesitate to kill a bunch of ethnic Russians, zip tie their hands, throw them in a pit, and say, Russia did it, Russia did it? No. Look what they did a week ago. They shot a missile and killed 2 people in Poland, and before anyone knew anything, this exact same formula, we see this time and time again. They say, Russia did it, Russia did it. Before any investigation, before anything, it's Russia, Russia did it. And what did Zelensky say? We should trigger Article 5 of NATO. Bring in the whole world against Russia. And the scary part about it is he's going to keep doing this and doing this and doing these terrorist attacks until one of them finally works. And it's not him. It's the people behind him. It's these attain a Ukrainian state. Let's call them Banderites, because that's what they are. They adhere to the doctrine of Stepan Bandera. They use Hitler's war playbook. They adhere to Adolf Eichmann's doctrine of genocide, and it's we see this over and over and over again. Like, why would Russia bomb their own pipeline? Why would they bomb schools in Donbass? This is a place where they're building schools right now. Go look on YouTube. Associated Press reported on this. They've built over 15 high-rise apartment buildings. Why would they be shelling the Russian-speaking population that they came to protect? Does this not click? This should click, and you guys aren't that fucked in the head, really? Because I'm starting to think you are. You're this fucked in the head that you really think that Putler and the orcs, the Muscovites, have really come to this cause mayhem for no fucking reason. So much that, and they're gonna bomb themselves too. They're gonna bomb all their own shit. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna blow themselves up, blow everything up. For why? Because Putin has, Alzheimer's, and they're losing the war, and they just can't handle it. So they just blow themselves up and blow their. Do you know how ridiculous all this stuff sounds? You guys are being lied to, and these people have no defense either. They have no defense. They just blatantly ignore the shit that I just showed you in the other room over there. They ignore Ukraine's war crimes blatantly. And when Zelensky says Russia did it, we go, well, Russia did it. We don't even question him. Now, in this case of Poland being struck by by that Russian missile, the Soviet missile, guess it turns out that Zelensky shot that over there. But that didn't stop him from saying Russia did it, Russia did it, Russia did it, and asking for, Article 4 for Russia to join in and I'm telling you, that's not behavior of Russia to do these things, these Bucha and all this stuff, and that's these guys' behavior. They've been doing this for 9 years. They've been doing this bullshit like this in Donbass. They've been trying to ethnically cleanse people. They're fucking psychos. Look, here's one of these guys.
Я знаю, що як журналіст я маю бути об'єктивним, маю бути виваженим для того, щоб повідомляти вам інформацію з холодним серцем, але направду триматися зараз дуже важко, особливо в такий час, і якраз уже нас на Росії називають нацистами, фашистами і так далі. Я дозволю собі зацитувати слова Адольфа Ейхмана, який сказав, що для того, щоб знищити націю, потрібно нищити в першу чергу дітей, тому що вбиваючи їхніх батьків.
Do you understand what's going on? He's saying, okay, you guys call us out, we're Nazis. And so I'm going to quote Adolf Eichmann. And what does Adolf Eichmann said? To destroy a country, you have to start by killing who?
Який сказав, що для того, щоб знищити націю, потрібно нищити
the children. This is how crazy these people are. They're just as crazy as the radical Islamists who do these jihads on people and suicide bombings, okay?
В першу чергу дітей. Тому що вбиваючи їхніх батьків, діти виростуть і обов'язково помстяться. Вбиваючи дітей, вони ніколи не виростуть, і нація зникне. Як Збройні сили України не можуть нищити російських дітей, тому що це заборонено правилами війни. І це заборонено різними конвенціями, в тому числі Женевськими. Але я не зі Збройних сил України. І коли мені випаде нагода розправитися з росіянами, я обов'язково це зроблю. Я дотримуюсь, раз ви вже називаєте нацистами, дотримуюсь доктрини Адольфа Ейхмана і зроблю все, що від мене залежить, для того, щоб ні ви, ні ваші діти ніколи не жили на цій землі. Для того, щоб ви відчули, як воно, коли вмирають ні в чому не винні цивільні люди. Для того, щоб ви відчули весь біль і страждання, коли ви говорите, а ми не починали війни. Це все Путін. Ми не хотіли цієї війни. Ми теж її не хотіли. Але тепер ви мусите розуміти, що тут йдеться про перемогу українського народу, а не мир. Нам потрібна перемога. І якщо для цього доведеться вирізати всі ваші сім'ї, я буду одним із перших, хто це зробить. Слава нації! І сподіваємось,
Слава нації!
Нації, як Росія і росіяни, ніколи більше не залишаться на цій землі. Тому що це просто виродки, які засмічують цю землю. І якщо в українців є можливість, що вони зараз, в принципі, роблять, трощити, різати, вбивати, душити москальноту. Я сподіваюся, що кожен внесе свій вклад і замочить хоча б одного москаля.
This is the radical, crazy ideology that is infected Ukraine. Okay, it's so hard to like. It's almost unbelievable. And if that's why you don't believe it, then you know what? I'm not judging you, but I still am, because people who open their mouth about shit that they don't know about, like, I do have a tendency to judge you, and I also have a tendency to judge people who watch Western TV or you know, any type of, you know, you should read. You should read. Okay, and I somebody the other day said something to me because I call this upon myself. I walk around wearing my fucking Russian gear. Somebody said to me, like, what do you say? Oh, try to tie me to Tucker Carlson. You know, he said that's Russian propaganda. Like, you know, and I'm like, first of all, Tucker Carlson's the fucking bonehead, and he was trolling people like when he said I want Russia to win. But you guys freaked out because you have no fucking brain, and you decided to make these most unsubstantiated claims against him, that Tucker Carlson is somehow on the payroll of the Kremlin. Is Putin's friend, and he's a Russian propagandist. No, he's a fucking expert troll, man. That's what he is. No. But this is how stupid people are on the left, that they think, like, you know. And on the right, they're stupid just because they don't want to war with Russia because they don't want to spend the money. They're cheap ass bastards. They want that money themselves. But at least they don't want a war. At least they don't want a war. But no, it's just stupid to hear people just say, "Hey, you're a Russian propagandist," when you're pro-Russian. You know, if you're pro-Russia, like if you say I want Russia to win, like, well, shit, I must be working for the Kremlin. Well, guess what? 60% of the world must be on the Kremlin's payroll, because that's how many people support Russia. Yeah, you probably didn't know that. What is there, 2.5 million people or billion people in China that they support Russia? What about India? What's that, 1.9 billion people? I don't know the populations of these countries. Somewhere around there. The majority of the world supports Russia, and it was really disgusting to hear, because they're educated. Like, you're not. You haven't seen a Ukrainian refugee in your city. You haven't had one yet. Like, they purposely keep them away from you. They the ones who support, like, Russia, they go to Russia. The ones who support, like, Zelensky and whatnot, they go to Poland and everything. And it's really sickening that Zelensky, of all people, called for the cancellation of Russians. Such ordinary people. You know what? They shouldn't be allowed to play sports. They shouldn't. This is unprecedented. We've never heard anything like this before. He says that we should cancel their visas so they can't even travel. That's fucking insane. Like, what kind of... And you want us to think that you're not Nazis. And you're saying all this fucking bullshit. Like, are you out of your mind? Like, fuck you, bro. Fuck you. From America, with love. Fuck you. I don't know what they got on Zelensky, but, like, he was not like this before. Like, I really want to think the best of people. I really want to think that Zelensky has been kidnapped or something, like, or just being pressured, or maybe they have something on his family that... But he says the most unstatesmanlike things, like preemptive nuclear strikes and, like, canceling, like, Russia, and, like, he says the most unstatesmanlike things. And it's almost like he's been, like, forced, like, here, read this, say this, like, or else, because they just don't, like, add up. They don't add up at all. And it just goes back to what I was saying, like, none of this, you should have a brain to see that this doesn't add up, because it's right in front of your face. This isn't, like, hard, like, to see. It's not hard to see. I saw it when the second time Joe Biden said Putin's price hike. I was like, all right, he's pushing something. What's he pushing? You know? Like, what's this guy pushing? Oh, shit, I forgot the wine. Damn it. But you see the same thing over and over and over and over again, you know? Like, why would Russia be shelling the Russian-speaking population? They wouldn't. But I tell you who would. The Azov Battalion, because they've been shelling them for 8 years. They have a history of brutality. They've killed probably 10 to 15,000 people before the war even broke out, before the invasion. They've chased the Roma people out of the buildings. I told you, they burned down the trade union's building with 40 people alive inside. And then when they tried to get away from the fire, they shot them when they jumped out the windows. Do you want to see that? Do you think that's Russian propaganda? Do you want to see it? It's right there on YouTube. It's really disgusting that you people like would get behind these people. Like, even if Putin was bad, like, how can you get behind these other people and say, like, oh, let's support Nazis then? Like, I just showed you that them executing. Have you you have no like moral compass? Like, has it been steered that much that, like, you know, it's a matter of pro-Trump, negative Trump, you know, like, is that where it is? You know, like, I think it was amazing that Trump walked into North Korea like that. I couldn't believe it when he did that, because they were supposed to meet on the ground, and, you know, he's like, hey, is that Korea? And Kim Jong was like, He's like, can I go over there? And he's like, sure, why not? He walked into fucking North Korea. That was a fucking, do you know how amazing that was? That was amazing. Can you guys remember before that happened? Like, we used to worry about North Korea shooting missiles at us or like at our allies, and then us having to go to war like all the time. The tension, North Korea was the bad guy, you know, like he was the bad guy. And then that happened, you know? That was Trump, like, he was not bad on foreign policy. He didn't, like, fuck up relations with the world leaders, you know? Here, let's watch that real quick. The first person to do this, like, first president to ever do this. And he just does it. Like, he walks out like, mop, 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 mop. I don't want to look at your ugly face. Come on. He goes and meets Kim Jong-un on this. This is the neutral ground where they're supposed to stand or whatever. And he shakes his hand, and they're supposed to stand here for like 5 minutes and talk, or 10 minutes or whatever. But then he's like, is that North Korea? Like, you hear him? You hear him? He goes, I think this would be a great idea. He goes, you would be the first U.S. president. And then they walked down the street. They didn't just cross over and stand over the line. Then they walked down the fucking street. Hang out here. And then look, now they're down the street hanging out by houses and shit. Dude's walking through North Korea. This is the greatest fucking thing, like, that he ever did. Like, he wasn't a piece of shit. Like, that you got, maybe he was. He said some bad things to grab her by the, that was bad. The things he said, you know, maybe he installed some I don't know, hate in their country, but his foreign policy was better, way better than Obama's, way better than Bush's, and Joe Biden's starting to give Bush a run for his money. He's fucking horrible. Like, it's fucking horrible. This is not an unprovoked war. It's provoked, and we provoked it, and it's fucking stupid, you know. But these people think you're stupid, and for the most part, they're right, because they have you believing that the Russians are these evil, parasitic, sadistic barbarians who like rape and torture people for fun and bomb their own pipelines in their spare time. And but the bad news is that, look, man, the Nazis have taken Kiev. The neo-Nazis. There's no Nazis in Ukraine. That's right. You're technically right. There are no Nazis left. They're all dead. Adolf Hitler is dead. There's no more Nazi party. They're not Nazis. The neo-Nazis. The Banderites, okay? Whatever you want to fucking call them. The ideologues, ultranationalists who have pretty much 95% ethnically cleansed Ukraine of everyone who's not Ukrainian. They're on the last leg right now, and it's the Russians. They've done a fucking damn good job at it. And thanks to who? Us, our country, our taxpayer dollars. When we go to work and they take all this money out of our paycheck, we send it to Nazis in Ukraine. And then only for people to turn around and say, that's Russian propaganda. No, fucker, we're sending money to Nazis in Ukraine. Well, the Russians are using it as... I don't give what the fuck what the Russians are using it for. That's our fucking money. And it's not okay to send it to these fucking extremists. I don't care if the Russians are playing Tucker Carlson 24 hours a day. Okay? There's a difference between right and wrong. And I just watched a thing where the Russian media, some generals were sitting around, they're going, well, we can only hope that the United States keeps giving them more weapons so that the Nazis will come out to the battlefield and die. What? Over here in America, we're like, well, we're really showing Putin. We're gonna give these guys weapons to go fight them off with. And the Russians are saying, well, as long as the United States gives them weapons, they'll come out to the battlefield and die. And then through this war of attrition, that's what they call it, war of attrition, that they can exterminate the whole Nazi population. So if these guys are truthful in what they're saying, I don't agree with them. I don't want this war to keep going. I'm not a pro-war person. I know I said I was earlier. I'm just pro-Russia. That's what I meant. I want this defeat to happen real quick. I want everybody to be peaceful. I want Ukrainians and Russians to get along again like they did when I was growing up with them. When I would walk up to, a Ukrainian or a Russian and say, Привет, как дела? Хорошо. And I'd say, Ты русский? Are you Russian? And he would look back at me and say, same thing. And I'd be like, Ukrainian. Yeah, yes. They would say that. They would say it was the same thing. Okay? That's what I want to see again. I want to see... the United States has a knack for getting neighboring countries to fight amongst each other. And God damn you fucking assholes. Like, you bought into it on both sides. Like, really? Like, I mean... I don't know if Russia could have done anything because we found the fucking motherfuckers that hate Russia. We found that small population. We gave them a bunch of weapons. We gave them a bunch of money. We trained them. We built their fortifications and trenches for them. It's fucking... and guess what? Now they've taken Kiev. We cooed their government, but that wasn't enough for us. Now they've taken Kiev. And that happened when Putin invaded. It created a power vacuum. They take Kiev, they took over parliament, and then they've held it ever since. And the Azov and the other, I'm just gonna call them Banderites because I don't want to sit there and list off all the different battalions, the Donbass battalion, the Banderites are the ones behind the shelling of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It's fucking obvious. Just look how Russia acts. They're like, please come look, come on. And then when the people come to inspect it, I don't know if you saw that video, probably not, because you guys are not first in this like I am. You don't fucking live and breathe this shit all day like I am. You guys just watch one video on CNN or Fox, and then you run your mouth like you fucking know something. But if you watch that video with, what's his name, Marco Andrelli, whatever, of the nuclear task force from, I don't know where the fuck the guy is. He looks Italian. He's not. Argentinian guy? Who's that guy? Marco, whatever. They shelled this guy on the way in. They tried to bomb them and prevent the nuclear inspectors from coming in. And then he met with Russia, and Russia was like, come on, man. Like, tell the truth, They're and you look at this stuff, man. You look at the nuclear, the missile that hit Poland. You look at Bucha. You look at the bombing the POW camp. All these things have this same exact 1, 2, 3 formula. Brutal atrocity. Screaming Russia did it before any formal investigation. And a call to action, like, come give us weapons, come join the fight, trigger Article 4, preemptive nuclear strikes. It's the same damn thing every time. And sometimes there's a fourth step where Ukraine just cleans it up completely. They fucking wipe the floors, mop the floors, and there's no evidence for anything to do anything. And all that's left is, Russia did it. How do you know? We looked into it. You're fucking lying Nazi scumbags. Like, we know what your game is. It's to attain a Ukrainian state by any means possible. Like, and we know that you want to die for this. And if you die for it, great. That's how you want to die. Like, you're fucking crazy. And, you know, all these attacks, they follow the same exact script. It starts with a bizarre event, you know? And then Zelensky going, Russia did it. Give us weapons. You know, like the fucking Viagra hoax. That was like the dumbest thing in the world, you know? To say, I would wager $1 million that not a single Russian troop has raped one person in Ukraine. I would bet $1 million on that. I would. And I only got half of that to back it up. So I'll bet you $500,000 that there's not a single Russian troop who's raped a Ukrainian. Okay? I will bet you that. We'll take it to the bank. Find me one. Find me one. Show me one. Show me proof. Not just fucking stupid ass accusations. Russia did it. Russia did it. Oh, got to go. Talk to you later. No. Ask yourself, man, what kind of statesman acts like Zelensky and calls for preemptive nuclear strikes? What kind of statesman? He's either a terrorist or he's just being forced to work for them and just repeat, like, you know, it's the same formula over and over. I wasn't talking to you, Syria. Oh, it's the Kremlin spying on me. Ooh. Okay, so, no, like, no, the Azov battalion shot that missile, claimed it was Russia, and they tried to pull NATO into the conflict, the missile in Poland. And you know what? It's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to them, because nobody's going to question them. No, Poland's not going to go, hey, why you shoot missile at me? They're going to be like, sorry, it was an accident. I meant to shoot the other guys. They can fall back on that for anything. They can be like, oh, I was trying to shoot the guys in Crimea and I hit the power plant. If they get caught, they can do that for anything. That's their excuse. And it's always their excuse that even Zelensky himself said, well, if there's an accident at the nuclear power plant, then, well, it's Russia's fault. Like, because they're there and they're legitimate targets. Like, what? And he's shelled the nuclear power plant almost every other day. Every other day. Like, it's insane. These people want to cause a terrorist, like, they want to create a disaster, a humanitarian catastrophe, so that the worlds unite together, come in, clean up everything. Everybody fucking, annihilates Russia and kicks them out. And then the Banderites can have their Ukrainian state. They can be like, thank you. You did the work for us. And it's sad. Like, it's and they're going to keep doing it till it finally works. And, like, these guys are a threat to all mankind. Like, do you understand? They're at least a threat to all of Europe. Okay, when you have nuclear weapons in the bag, you got Russia over here, you got NATO over here. Like, I'm just praying that the only reason that the U.S. intelligence, like, has not, triggered Article 4 or whatever, jumped in on this, is because they know that that's bullshit. They know it's Zelensky. So they're just like, yeah, we know it's Zelensky. We know Zelensky did this. We know that shit. We're not going to fucking... No, we fucked with Russia enough. He's gone overboard. This is not what we want. We just want to fucking fuck up their gas business and their economy and show you guys who's boss. Because I swear to God, if one single hair on one of those beautiful Russian girls gets her fucking, I will give up my American citizenship and I will go to Russia and I will fight my country. Do not fucking strike Moscow. At all. Do not fucking do it. These people did not do this. The U.S. is the aggressors. Now you guys wondering, like, okay, the United States gave some Nazis, like, some weapons. Like, okay, great. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, so where are all these Nazis come from? There's only a little bit of Nazis. Okay, I just told you. They've come from other countries. They've come to Ukraine because they've heard that this is the place to be. Like, it's the Lviv is the capital of, like, Nazism. It really is. And it's infected like their everything. It's infected their whole entire government and their city council. And here, let's look at this here. We saw this racist already, but let's watch this here. So this is the song to Stefan Bandera, the murderer, Nazi collaborator. Like, I don't know if you know this song or not, but I'm about to play. How do you keep that on the screen?
I'm teacher Vicky, and for now we are going to talk.
Here it is, right here. No, there's no Nazis in Ukraine. Not at all. They're only singing the song of the Nazi collaborator that they've based their whole ideology on to attain a Ukrainian state. And they're only giving the Sieg Heil Hitler salute. Oh, who are these people? This is City Hall. Look at them. They looked at each other like, should I raise my hand? Oh, no, there's a camera watching. Watch this. Watch this. Slava Nazi, what? I'm telling you, this shit is everywhere. I'm telling you, we are.
What's happening on the ground? I'm joined now by our defense and security analyst.
What do we got here?
Hello again to you, Michael.
Who's this? What is this propaganda?
There's an artillery battle going on. If you're doing that, they're counter-battery radar.
Anyways, I'm disgusted with the Russophobia. No matter what your position is on the war, like there's two things. Like I just really want to say, like, don't fucking be Russophobic. Don't do it. Don't do it. I support Russia's invasion, their special military operation. I don't like war. I want them to win, and I want them to win decisively and quickly. And I want them. What I support. I actually stand with Ukraine. I stand with the Donbass, the people in Donbass. I stand with pretty much anyone who, any normal person who does not support Stepan Bandera or these Azov people and their psychotic like dream to create a Ukrainian state. They've been fucked in the head by Western money. The United States has used Ukraine as a tool to be a thorn in Russia's side, and in turn, these guys actually think that they have a chance at doing what they want to do and ethnically cleansing Ukraine. But what they don't realize is that the United States will just wipe them out like when they're done with them. The United States will just, you're done. What? Like, they're all gone. They just disappeared off the face of the planet. My country has that much power. Like, they can just disappear you guys like that. Like, where'd they go? Oh, we got them. We got the bad guys. Who? The bad guys. ISIS, whatever. They will decisive. If Russia doesn't get you, my country will. So just know that. Like, if you're one of those nationalists, ultra-nationalists, and you're seeing this, and you're like, who's this fucking, Muscovite fucking wannabe, Russia sympathizer? Like, this is reality hitting you. If Russia doesn't get you, my country will. We're not going to tolerate Nazism. We built you up, and we'll break you down. You're being used, okay? You should go back to Lviv, and, you should negotiate while you still have the chance. You really should. But yeah, because what's sad is that that they're not gonna believe this. They think that they have the momentum and the wind under the back because this ideology is actually spreading. It's spreading through. While everyone is focused on Ukraine and Russia, and the Russia and the gay doctrine, thing, whatever. Well, similar movements are going on in Ukraine. In Poland and the Baltic states, and I'm getting tired. You guys research this. Go like research like neo-Nazi. They just had a parade like 2 weeks ago on the 11th, I think it was. It was the Independence Day parade. But guess what? A bunch of Nazis showed up, and tried to hijack it. Here, I'll show you this one last thing. Like, it's wild, man. It's wild because you see all this different stuff going on in Poland, and if this ideology, God forbid, it goes back and reaches Germany and sparks that ideology in them, like, can you? We can't have another World War II. We can't. If there's nuclear weapons on the table, it'll be the end of the world. The first cities to be struck are going to be Warsaw, Moscow, London, probably Minsk, DC, New York, Los Angeles, and depends on whether China and all these other Japan guys get in. If they get in, then China and Japan are gonna get hit, and it's gonna be it's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be horrible. We can't do this again. This is 2 weeks ago, by the way, and this was oops, that one was a year ago. Wrong one. But this shit happens like every year in Poland, though. But this one was 2 weeks ago, and these people all have ties to the Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion we're seeing there at this Independence Day march. I want you to look carefully at the signs that they're carrying.
Przyszedłem tutaj, żeby przemaszerować z swoimi synami, pokazać im sytuację, jak jest to dla nas bardzo i będziemy...
Przede wszystkim ten kraj będzie niepodległy, a w tej chwili
Alright,
to...
look at this shit.
No to jeżeli życia, to wtedy ten kraj chodzi o zakaz aborcji. Wtedy, jeżeli człowiek będzie miał prawo do życia...
White lives matter. Do you see that? This is in Poland, okay? White lives matter. Do you see this shit?
To wtedy ten kraj będzie niepodległy, a w tej chwili to... No to jeżeli odbieramy komuś życie...
Even Siri's pissed off. She's like, I don't know how to answer to that. Look at what you're seeing up here. This is the, I can't remember, it's another white pride, like, symbol.
Ta wojna jakby trwa dalej.
Shut up, Siri! I'm trying to watch a video. That's what I thought.
Gdzieś tam w podziemiach aborcyjnych, w szpitalach.
W Ukrainie. Ja bynajmniej. Na Ukrainie.
So yeah, of course there's a lot of Ukrainian refugees in Poland because there's a lot of Nazis there. Of course Poland is going to say, yeah, ban Russians. It's weird because both of these countries got invaded by Hitler, but somehow it had a, look at that. But somehow it had a lasting effect on them to the point that they actually have Nazis now. Neo-Nazis, ultra-nationalists. They're like, hey, you know that thing that Hitler did? Pure white Germany? Well, we want pure white Poland and we want pure white Ukraine. Like, I'm trying to find this parade that the Associated Press, that's what I was looking for. I think it was Associated Press. Was it? I think I already found it. Polish Independence Day features Nazi symbols, calls to burn Jews. That's brilliant. That's 2 weeks ago. And you don't think there's... Okay, there's no Nazis in Ukraine. Because they're all in fucking Poland. Where's that video? Let's see. I really want to deliver on this one, but I can't. But I can't find it. But there's the there's some really great symbolism in this gathering that was just a couple weeks ago. That these people are kind of solidifies like what I've been trying to tell you. Here it is. Here's one of them. Check this out. This is 10 days ago. You think Russia's backwards on LGBT, like, and women's rights or whatever? They're great on it compared to Poland. You guys do the research, man. Look into Poland, and they have anti-LGBT free zones, LGBT free zones. Look at this shit. Look at we have the most widest. Okay, no communism. Okay, great. No LGBT. We don't want that shit either. We don't want Nazism. And at the end here, we don't want Stefan fucking Bandera. That's who that is. Stefan Bandera at the end. So that's kind of a fuck you to Ukraine, because that's Stefan Bandera. That's a little fuck you to Ukraine. They're saying like Polish lives matter. That's it. I do not know what this is. I do not know what that is. But no communism, no LGBT, no Nazis, and no Stefan Banderas. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you, like, and all I wanted to say. I think I've ranted for about an hour now, but like, you know, you guys need to understand, like, this is dangerous. It's spreading through the Baltic states and Poland, and you know, there's you need to research this stuff immediately. The Azov Battalion, as well as the Kraken, Tornado, Phoenix, C4, they're actively working with violent national groups in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Poland, and this is where the majority of the mercenaries are coming from. And believe me when I say they're no friend of LGBT rights. And this radical ideology has infected 5 countries surrounding Poland, and it's and one of them is their neighbors is Germany. So just letting you know, we can't have a repeat of World War III. You know, like I said, the first city is going to be nuked, or Warsaw, Moscow, London, DC, and and if such an event occurs, like what next? The world's population is going to flock to Australia and South America. Like, it's going to be lawlessness. It's going to be genocides there. But whoever survived, on the bright side, we can say, you know what? We stood up to Putin's aggression. We stood for the democracy, for the Ukrainian people, to beat down gay people, like, for their right to. Oh God, give me a fucking break, dude. Like, give me a break. So, you all know where my loyalty lies. Check this out. You all see the what's on the back here? Let's see if I can hold this in a way that. Can you see it? Oh, I promised to show you the flag. So I'm very unapologetic, like, in this. Like, people are starting to call me, like, Commie Van. Like, so I'm very unapologetic. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Like, the way I look at it is like you don't question me. I'm not here to impress you. You're here to impress me. Show me, like, how smart you are. Like, so, boop, 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 boom. So there's my Russian flag next to my. Can you see that? My Israeli flag, and then there's my really offensive one right there. And here's my so yeah. I don't give a fuck. Like, so where are all the rappers out there? They always say, I don't give a fuck. Like, no, I don't give a fuck. You think you don't give a fuck? Shit. Show me how you don't give a fuck. Throw on a shirt or something, or a sign. Like, and for those of you who know what I know, and you know that the aggressors are the United States, you know that we poured a bunch of gasoline on a small little campfire and turned it into a giant mess. This isn't funny. This really saddens me, This is only, like, just pissed me off more to, like, I probably wouldn't be flying Russian flags today if it weren't for, like, you people being so stupid. You know, I just have to take a stand for, you know, my comrades. And I swear to fucking God, like, if shit goes down, I'm gonna go. If they'll take me, I don't know if they'll take me. If I wouldn't take me, I don't blame them if they wouldn't. You know, I'm American, so. But no, I'll go fight against my country, like for Russia. Like they're a great country. They're better than us. They you guys are so stupid, ignorant. You watch two different types of media. Western conservative media or Western liberal media. Like there's a whole world out there. And you're not going to know like the truth until you go start putting Google Translate on and reading some Indian publications or some Mexican news or whatever. Like America's the most heavily propagandized country. Like hands down. That's a fact. And it's always like I meet somebody like where they think that they're like so high and mighty because, you know, they get propagandized from the liberal media, not the conservative media, you know. And it's just so whenever I hear Russian propaganda or Russian propagandists, I know whatever you're about to say is going to be a lie. Just know that. It's going to be a lie or something stupid because Russia is not good at propaganda. They suck at it. They don't speak English, not to the level of Ukraine. You know, Ukraine doesn't, like, no. You want to see some Russian propaganda? I'll show you some Russian propaganda before, like, I go. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I didn't know he didn't drink, man. I was hoping to have a drink vodka shot with Putin. A guy like Putin. Dun, 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 dun. You want to see some more Russian propaganda? Hold on. I just want to say something. This guy is fucking 71 years old. He had a fucking #1 hit song just like 5 years ago on the Eurovision like dance charts. Like you're 66 years old. You have a #1 hit song. It's this song, by the way. Like this is insane, dude. Here we go. Jak wiele rasisty lochem wilosz. Soldiers, man. Padnij mają Rosję znamia. Bertam Sloya. I got 2 pit bulls. Look at airplanes, jets and shit. Russia, Bertam Sloya, Arkop Isila, Bertam Sloya. Shout out to President Putin, man. Beat them Nazis. I'm out of here. How do I quit?